Hello, coaches, and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name's David Newberry, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ian Barker. Hello, Ian.
Hello, David. Pleasure to be here.
Ian, this is the second in a series of 3 activities that come from the 2015 convention with Bate and focus on midfield functional training with an emphasis on passing and passing combinations. And we're going to start off this particular presentation with video, and then we'll pick up the 3 sequences in diagrams.
So we need 2 players, 1 player, 1 player, 1 player. Right, for the moment, just do what you've been doing. Quickly, off you go. Quick, 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're still on 7.5. Go on, keep going. And again, 1 more. Good. 1, quickly, short, sharp, miss out that middle step. Reduce the time that you have on the ball. Good, stop. Stay where you are. Now then, midfield players, what do they do if they're marked? What are they going to do if they're marked in midfield? Because some teams, you watch Atletico Bilbao. Watch Atletico Bilbao under the coach Bielsa. They played man for man in the Spanish league. 3 strikers dealt with the 4 back players. Anytime the fullbacks went forward, the wingers tracked them. They left the striker to deal with the 2 centre-backs. Everybody else was man for man, but they played 2 centre-backs against 1 striker. So if you were a midfield player playing for Elche, or you're a midfield player playing for Real Betis, somebody was on your back all the time. So what are you going to do if you're marked? Well, what are your options? I'll have it, and I'll bounce it back to you. I'll have it, and I'll turn away from you with a cleverness. All 3 other things. I'll stand still because I know I'm holding you and there's a gap there that the ball can be played through. That's one thing. Or I'll get free to get the ball, which is what you've just been looking at. Or I'll move and change places with another player. So if I'm marking him and he changes places with you, go and just change. What am I going to do? Am I going to go with him or am I going to collect this one? And you'll be surprised how disorganized some defenses are like, and one of them gets free. Now here's a little introductory practice based on what you've just been talking about that you might think about using. But you'll be cleverer than I am on doing all the different ways we can do it. Right, as that ball moves around here, play there for me, good, stop there. Just as the ball's arriving at your feet, you 2 change places. Play into your friend. Good. He opens up. Or it's just arriving. Go on, change places. Play there. Play. Go on, swap. Go on, get it going. You've got it. Play. You've got it. Keep changing places. Good. Because you're just thinking about losing a marker. And go. Okay, and again. And again. Good. You've got the idea. Well done. Just keep it going, keep moving it. Good. That's it. It's dead simple, dead easy in the course. Reverse it to the direction. Keep it going. Good. And again. Well done. Right. Right, hold it there. Now you're very British. You're boring. Because when you change places, and I don't blame you, when you change places you're saying, yes, come on, let's go, no problem. Coach has told us to do it, so we better do it. Open up and play. What's clever movement? Clever movement involves movement within movement, sometimes. So if I'm going to change places with my friend here, I might have to go there first, go on, I'll wait. I might have to go there for go on, before I come into here. Now, I'm in and I can take the ball. It might involve that. It might involve, if I've got somebody here, this. That's all. Because if I open my shoulders and I open my hips, he may think I'm going there, he backs off, back foot, off I've gone. Or I'm subtle. I just come around the corner, just around the corner there. And now I'll accelerate into here. So on your movement, in front of this 1,000 people, show me some cleverness in how you're going to change places. Okay, go and play. Round the outsides. Who's changing? How are you going to do it? So is it a personal movement followed by some clever movement? Open up. Good. All done. Good. Well done. And keep checking what's on around you when you think you're going to get that ball. Remember those 3 looks. When you think you're going to get it, when you know you're going to get it, and when it's on its way. Could you check? Where's Ralph gone? Keep it going. Open up. Open up. Well done. And again. Good. Keep those passes zipped. Quickly, quickly. Open up. Good boy. And change places. Well done. That's fine. Okay. Hold it there. Now, coaches, where could you take this now? Dead simple. What else could we do here now? Very simply on this one. So, I've come off to receive it with my friend. I've been clever. I've gone in there before I've come here. I've checked my shoulder as I come. The ball comes into me. How could you put in another spectrum or another challenge for them? Sorry? You got it. If I said to you, come back tomorrow with 10 different variations, you'd do it. He comes, he nicks it to his friend who's changed places with, and he plays there. So you can play off the man that's just changed places with you. Not a problem. It comes, go on, touch it in, 1 touch. Play off him here. And it goes there. I play into my friend. Okay? So we've just changed places. We've just changed places. I'm here. 1 touch, and I play. Okay? Play to him, let it go through your legs. It's come to me, play, over. That's it. Play to me, and I'm in there. So the variations you could work on in here, off the movements to be made, 1-2s, overs, many of them. Give me another little addition to the practice. So when the ball's in this part of the field, what's happening over there? It's this, isn't it? Get them to switch. So the ball's being played. You two, change places. Go on, quick. And if you're still waiting, change places with somebody else. Just get them to have a look and change places. And all you're trying to plant is, sometimes you'll stand still. Sometimes you'll move. For what purpose? And this purpose is to shake somebody off who's marking you quickly. Tyler, where are we? Join there for me, please, if you would. Okay, off we go. See what you make of it. Go on, play. You're still changing places. Still changing. Go on, change to somebody else. That's it. Keep on the move. Good. What have you got? Now, what's happening down here near me? What about calling your friend for a switch? Go on. Go on. Have you got a swap? Yeah, go on in. Set him up. Good. Now play. What's happening there? Any movement on that side of the pitch? Go on in. Who's in? Yeah. Good. Keep it going then. Good. Keep your movement going. Well done. Now what's happening down here near me? Are you changing? Are you going to change anybody? Change with somebody. Go on. Are you going to do it? Good, lad. Well done. Keep going. Keep somebody captains the practice. So what do I mean by that? I'm the practice captain, or you are. As we play, he's got to make certain that that base is covered, that base is covered, that base is covered, somebody's on that base, somebody's on that base, and if they're not, he gets stuck into them. It's like when he plays a game. He organises the team, gets them sorted. So you're in charge of this practice. If that base isn't being covered, get it covered. If that base isn't being covered, get it covered. We've got 1 minute left on this practice. Okay? Good. Go on and play. Off you go. Quickly. And play. Good. Now check what's happening. Keep moving on the outside. Go on. Anybody standing still, I shall be very, very upset. Keep going. That's it. Keep them going then. Good. And there's a movement. Who's in charge of this practice? Where is he? Good. There's a base missed there, Leo. One missed here. Good. Sort the bases out. Who's in charge? Good. Can you get a turn on? Can you play a 1-2? Good. Off you go and stroke it into somebody. Good. Who's on the move? Who's on the move? Where? Why? Go on in. Change places again. Not just once. Change again if you want. Good. Keep it moving. Well done. Keep the quality of your passing up.
So, Ian, we've seen the development from the first activity, and in fact, Dick does start with the activity that we've previously covered on Give and Go. The activity originally was just passing around the edge in a both clockwise and anti-clockwise direction using both feet, with the players opening up, sometimes coming towards the ball, sometimes moving away from the ball. And in this example, Dick has included now 4 players that start in the middle in an area approximately 6 yards apart, a 6-yard square. And the objective this time is, once the ball has been played around the edge, the players in the interior switch places with those on the exterior. The ball still travels around the exterior, doesn't at this early stage move inside, but the player movement is the focus on the first sequence. So, Ian, let's talk about some of the methods and some of the things we saw in the video.
Well, so one of the things that Dick's asking is that the player is not standing still when they receive it. So by adding in the second players, the idea that this player is now moving to get into position to receive it, and their teammate checks out. So now you have this push and pull movement. And as Dick shows in the video, the potential to lose defenders when you have 2 players exchanging position. If you were really looking at it functionally, you might consider these your interior midfield players, like your 6s and your 8s, and they're just dropping out into slightly wider positions and encouraging a teammate to exchange position with them. So a really nice little wrinkle there for complementary movement, confusing opponents, disrupting defenders. The one thing that I really like, though, was what Dick said was a little bit for this player about movement within the movement. So it's not enough just to go from here to there, but he showed and suggested, could you maybe come here to go there? Or could you go away to go there? So that notion of movement within a movement is, I think, really clever, because that's the little nuance which just shakes the defender. A little turn of the head. He shows about shaping his hips, his shoulders, his head to going one way, and then cutting back the other. So a lot of detail in there. And I think the key is, of course, to have seen this Give and Go, but make sure you've seen the one that precedes this, because it will make a lot more sense to you.
So the development of the first sequence, in the second sequence, we see an interior pass and then a give and go. Just to clarify, the players are still moving from the inside to the outside and the outside to the inside as the ball is traveling along the outside. So that movement is imperative. And as we see, as the play develops here, the player, having moved from the inside to the outside, receives the ball, then plays a give and go with the player that was previously on the outside. And once the ball is at the feet of the passer, the players on the next cone are now making a similar exchange in movement. So the timing of those movements, Ian, is extremely important. Too early means that the defenders are going to be able to keep pace and stay in touch with the attackers. Too late, and then the players are moving into the space too tight, probably, to the original space where the defender was. So let's move on and let's have your thoughts on this second sequence.
The continuous motion is the part, and then of course communication. And communication can be verbal and non-verbal. So the quality of my movement, the pace of my movement, the position of my head could be indicating to my partner information, and certainly I can use my voice. So consider how communication looks. But if we think about this player who is executing the both ends of our give and go, originally they were here. So they've had to move away and shape up to receive it. Then they've had to play the return pass or the give and go pass, and then move off at an angle. So there's a lot of movement there for that player. And the player I'm really interested in actually is this player. because he or she has come from here to the yellow cone, and then they've got to turn and get oriented to play the give and go and give back. So when we're talking to players about getting your feet sorted out, getting your hips open to the play, getting places quickly and getting reoriented to the ball, very, very challenging for this activity, especially for this player who's coming from outside to in to then execute the give and go. And it's not enough now for players just to get their heads down and go to spaces. They've got to be checking all the time. So in the previous give and go, we saw how the coach was putting up a different colored vest for the players to identify. But everybody's head in this training session should absolutely be on a swivel.
Yeah, it's interesting, Ian, how a very, very simple setup of an activity becomes extremely complex and technically demanding for the players.
Absolutely. And I thought Dick did a nice job because he identified a captain. So somebody, or maybe one or two kids that have that responsibility. And, you know, at the end of the day, checking if it's working is pretty straightforward. There are 8 cones, right? There's 4 in the corners and there's 4 in the middle. And he's saying, make sure every base is covered, but everybody's got to be in perpetual motion. So we're always checking maybe back and forth between the 2 cones on the diagonal. Maybe we're checking on the diagonal inside the square. Maybe we're checking across to each other. But this notion of covering the bases, keeping the dispersal of the 8 players the same, but keeping all 8 players moving. And once it gets going, absolutely devastating. It's almost essentially impossible to defend effectively.
Yeah, and certainly as we moved into the third sequence, we now start to see players off the ball, even on the other side of the grid, making these movements. So with the ball being over here on the number 2 position, these players making the passing exchange, we now see over on the other side of the area, the number 4, and those 2 players moving. And as you said, you know, as the activity goes on, we start to see players now exchanging positions in different areas of the field, even the players on the long side moving. So by going from a reasonably static activity now to a very, very dynamic activity in a relatively short period of time, is quite amazing how he managed to get it up to that level. So let's talk about the methods on the last sequence.
Yeah, so once again, this is the mantra from the first in this series of Give and Go. We're looking to support by being available to receive it. Then we're looking to receive it, get it under control, move briefly with the ball, and then make that release pass. So those 5, that progression of 5, I think is a really important mantra to start developing with the players and making sure that we understand it. What I like about the training session is there's a high degree of empowerment for the players to exchange positions. So he's saying to them, I want you to exchange positions, but how you do it is kind of up to you. So he'll say to them, turn on the inside shoulder or the outside shoulder, open your hips, have a look. He'll give them a lot of options, but he won't say to them, you always turn on your right shoulder or you always turn on your left shoulder. And so what you get there is what he talks about early in the video, is movement within the movement. So for example, to get to this position, this player might have just taken a step off and a step in, or they might have taken a step back to a step forward. And I love that notion of movement within movement. And I love that notion of empowering the players to find their own comfort level on how to solve the problem. They must be in continual motion. They must be covering the bases, and they must be trying to get the ball out quickly. But then he shows them ideas, but he doesn't require them to use a single technique, which I think is really powerful.
Well, Ian, before we go, I know that we wanted just to highlight some of the things that we have available to coaches that are looking to prepare for the upcoming season. We have a series of manuals. I know you had a few thoughts on this.
Yeah, the Give and Go is great because we've been able to use video. We've used animations before. We use the whiteboard, and hopefully my ideas and David's ideas and those of our guests come out across. But you know, many of us grew up using the print form and enjoying taking that manual with us on a bus ride or you know, reading it at home. And these manuals, I contributed a lot to them. David did. They're certainly part of United Soccer Coaches library, but I highly recommend them. They're very good reading, and they'll really set a coach up for when we're back outdoors and preparing. And the information in here is designed for coaches. We're not writing at people, we're writing to people. So if they're useful, I hope people will pick them up.
Yeah, and they're available in hardback, but also in PDF copy you can download straight away. So we hope you'll make good use of the manuals. Well, thank you, Ian, for your time, and thank you, coaches, for joining us on this edition of Give and Go Live.